You know, for the longest time, we had these two totally separate worlds. Over in Las Vegas, you had CES, where we'd all geek out over the latest shiny gadgets. And then, way over in the Swiss Alps, you had Davos, where world leaders would debate global policy. But in the last year or so, something's changed. Those two worlds, they haven't just met, they've collided. The gadgets from Vegas, they're now setting the entire agenda in Davos. So let's break down what this massive convergence really means for all of us.
And this image, it just perfectly captures that old divide, right? CES was always about the what. The new phone, the new TV, the hardware. Davos was about the so what, the big picture, the global impact. Well, that wall is completely gone. The technologies we're seeing now are the very reason world leaders are scrambling to rewrite the rules on jobs, economics, and even geopolitics itself. It means the tech you invest in is no longer just a line item. It's the core of your company's strategic direction. They're not separate conversations anymore. They are the same conversation.
And this quote from NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang just hits the nail on the head. It really gets to the heart of what's happening. Think about it. For the past few years, AI has been this thing that lives inside our computers, writing our emails, making cool images, but now it's getting a physical body. And giving AI a body, well, that's not just an upgrade. It's a fundamental change that's going to reshape our entire world. Okay, so let's really dive into the core concept that's driving this whole collision: physical AI. This is the engine behind absolutely everything we're about to talk about. So what are we really talking about here? Imagine this. AI is breaking out of the clean, orderly world of data centers and servers and stepping into our messy, unpredictable, physical reality. This isn't about a robot arm just following a simple script over and over. Nope. This is about AI that can actually see the world, understand what it's seeing, and make its own decisions, right there, in real time. So what's the secret sauce behind this? Well, it's this incredible new kind of AI brain called a World Foundation Model, or WFM. Now, unlike a language model that's trained on billions of words to predict the next word in a sentence, a WFM is trained on the laws of physics to predict the next movement. It actually learns about gravity and friction, kind of like how we learn to catch a ball without thinking about it. This means a robot can learn from a million mistakes in a virtual world at lightning speed without ever breaking a single thing in the real one. It's a total game changer for development. And what's happening now is just fascinating. You've got platforms like NVIDIA's Cosmos that are basically turning the super complex robotic brain into an off-the-shelf product. Think of it like the Android operating system, but for robots. The barrier to entry for building incredibly advanced robotics is just collapsing. So the strategic question for every single business leader has completely flipped. It's no longer, hey, can we automate this? It's, wait a minute, why haven't we automated this yet? And just to be super clear, these are not science fair projects. This is a full-blown commercial arms race. You've got Boston Dynamics Atlas, which is this incredibly advanced robot being put to work in Hyundai's own factories. You've got Digit, a specialist designed for what are called brownfield warehouses, which means it can literally just drop into existing facilities and get to work alongside people. And then you have Agibot from China, pushing down the price for everyone. The whole conversation has fundamentally shifted from, wow, can it walk, to, okay, what's its ROI per hour? So with these robots actually walking onto the factory floor, our entire industrial reality is changing. And this brings us to two massive new concepts we have to get our heads around: the Industrial Metaverse and what's being called the brain economy.
This, right here, is the new gold standard for any huge industrial project. Before you spend a single dollar on steel or concrete, you build a perfect one-to-one digital copy of your factory, a digital twin. In this virtual world, you can run millions of simulations to find the absolute most efficient workflow. And only then, once it's completely perfected, do you build it in reality. It's just a gigantic leap forward in how you manage money and de-risk massive investments.
And if you think this is some far-off theory, it's not. It's happening right now. Take PepsiCo. They're already using this exact technology from Siemens and NVIDIA to test out factory upgrades without ever having to shut down a real production line. This simulate then deploy model isn't the future. It's quickly becoming the new standard for smart, efficient investment today. But you know, as the machines get smarter and smarter, it forces us to ask a really deep question. What's the human role in all of this? And that brings us to maybe the most important conversation happening right now, the big shift to a brain economy. As AI takes over more and more of the routine tasks, the real economic value, the premium, it shifts to what's being called brain capital, the cognitive health, the creativity, and the emotional resilience of your people.
And why is this so incredibly urgent? Because of this number.
$16 trillion. That is the projected annual global cost of brain disorders by 2030. That's everything from burnout and anxiety to dementia. This isn't just a healthcare issue. It is a massive macroeconomic threat to productivity and growth.
But look, a revolution this huge doesn't come without major obstacles. In fact, there are two massive crises on the horizon that could derail this entire thing if we're not careful: the crisis of energy and the crisis of trust.
So first up is the Electron Gap. To put it simply, AI is incredibly thirsty for power. We have this great paradox where the very tool we're hoping will help us build a smarter, more efficient energy grid is also straining that same grid to its breaking point. It's a real catch-22.
The scale of this problem is, well, it's staggering. Projections show that by 2035, data centers could be eating up nearly 9% of all electricity in the United States. And look at this chart. Almost 40% of that energy isn't even for computing, it's just for cooling the systems down. This makes one thing crystal clear. Your AI strategy and your energy strategy are no longer separate. They are the exact same thing.
And the second crisis is what's being called the governance wall. We're hitting this point where the technology is ready to go, but we're not. The rollout of truly autonomous AI is starting to stall because we can't answer some really basic questions. Who's liable when it makes a mistake? Can we actually audit its decisions? And maybe most importantly, can we fundamentally trust it?
A huge piece of this trust problem is something people are now calling AI slop. This absolute flood of low-quality, mass-produced AI content that's designed to erode our trust in everything we see and read. So what's the defense? It's a technology called Digital Provenance. In a world that is about to be flooded with AI-generated fakes, being able to prove that something is real, that it has a verifiable origin, suddenly becomes one of the most valuable assets a company can possibly have.
Okay, so we've seen the incredible tech, we've seen the massive opportunities, and we've seen the very real risks. The big question is, what do we actually do now? Well, it's time for a whole new strategic playbook.
This new playbook is built on three core pillars that address everything we've talked about. Number one, reshape your physical world by using physical AI and the Industrial Metaverse. Number two, re-architect how you manage people, shifting from just counting heads to managing brain capital. And number three, reinforce your foundation by locking down a resilient energy supply and building the systems you need for trust and governance.
Okay, so at the board level, it is all about governance and long-term risk. First, you have to audit your liability. If a robot causes an accident, who's on the hook? Second, you need a dedicated AI governance committee. The old excuse of the computer said so is over. And third, you have to monitor your energy resilience like a hawk. Your amazing AI plans are pure fantasy without a reliable power source.
Now, for the CEO, the playbook gets way more hands-on. This is about action. First, start pilot programs with these generalist robots now, so you can learn how they actually integrate with your human teams. Second, shift HR's focus to actively investing in the cognitive health of your people. And finally, you have to mandate that every single major new project is perfected in the industrial metaverse before a single dollar is spent in the real world. No exceptions.
And listen, all of this comes with a very real deadline. The technologies we're seeing on display right now are all slated for mass commercial scaling by 2028. That means we are right in the middle of a critical 24-month window for process re-engineering. The companies that win are going to be the ones who use this time to redesign their entire strategy around what these new physical AIs can do.
At the end of the day, what this whole convergence is telling us is that the digital revolution we've all been living through is now becoming a physical one. It's about atoms, not just bits. So the final question for every single leader out there is simple, but it is incredibly urgent. The future has a body. Does your strategy?